Live on Facebook. We will.
We are.
Are we? Okay, let's see. And we are on Facebook indeed. And let's get started after these brief prayers to the Special Master. Om Bhagyan-timarandhasya Jnana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha. Shri-Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swamanantikam Vandeham Yuta Padkamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Dalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Namami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. All right. Namaste Mataji, Dandat Pranams. Thank you for joining. So, what words are we doing today?
Chapter 5, verse number 2, Mataji.
Verse number 2. All right, that's correct for 5 minutes. For remembering that. Okay, so let's get going. Chapter number 5 is called what?
Karma-yoga, action in Krishna consciousness.
All right, that's correct. It has got to be action in Krishna consciousness. And I'm bringing up the verse number 5.2 here. And while Meera Mataji has joined us. So start sharing 5.2. Okay. So here we go. śrī-bhagavān uvāca sannyāsaḥ karma-yogaś niḥśreyasa-karāv ubhau tayoḥ karma-sannyāsāt karma-yogo viśiṣyate. śrī-bhagavān uvāca sannyāsaḥ karma-yogaś niḥśreyasa-karāv ubhau tayoḥ karma-sannyāsāt karma-yogo viśiṣyate. śrī-bhagavān uvāca sannyāsaḥ karma-yogaś niḥśreyasa-karāv ubhau tayoḥ karma-sannyāsāt karma-yogo viśiṣyate. Synonyms. śrī-bhagavān uvāca. What does that mean? śrī-bhagavān uvāca. Sunday school students.
The personality of Godhead said.
Okay, sannyāsaḥ, renunciation of work. Karma-yogaḥ, work in devotion. Cha, also. niḥśreyasa-karau, leading to the path of liberation. Ubhau, both. Tayoḥ, of the two. Two, but. Karma-sannyāsāt, in comparison to the renunciation of fruitive work. Karma-yoga, work in devotion. Viśiṣyate is better. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead replied. So he's replying. So there must have been some question, right? So let's go and see what was the question that God is replying to. Arjuna uvāca sannyāsam karmanam Krishna punayogam cha sansyasi yashreya etayor tanme etayorekam tanme bruhi chunishchitam. So he said that Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? Okay, so that's the question that Arjuna has asked, and to which Sri Krishna is now responding, right? And in the translation, Prabhupada tells us, the personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work in devotion and the renunciation of work and work in devotion, both are good for liberation. Both are good. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Which is better?
Work in devotion.
Work in devotional service, correct, for 500 points. Purport, fruitive activities seeking sense gratification are cause for material bondage. What causes material bondage?
Fruitive activities.
Fruitive activities. As long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of body, thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. So how do you improve the standard of bodily comfort? Can you give me some examples, please?
Hmm.
You don't give any bodily comfort?
I like soft cushions and
Soft cushions,
rugs.
softness. What else gives you bodily comfort?
Tasty food.
Tasty food.
Staying in cold inside while outside is hot.
There you go. What else? How else do you improve your bodily comforts?
Earn money.
You earn money. What does money get you? That brings
All
you
these
bodily
comforts that you're
All
looking for.
discomfort. Yeah.
Give me some more examples of comfort. You only want soft cushion and some food?
I mean, house, car, and food, and
Clothes.
I think company of the people, and a lot of people, attract that way by having all these things. Either, offering to these people, food or whatever it is, or sometimes not even offering it, just showing off. And thereby sort of trying to get the admiration and trying to gain some kind of prestige. I think that's also
Comfort for the ego.
yeah. Yeah.
My ego is sitting in a comfortable position. High, there, up there, high. Good, right? So what will that lead to?
Bondage.
Bondage, right? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5 verses 4 to 6. And these are teachings of Rishabh-dev to his sons. How many sons did Rishabh-dev have? Rishabh-dev is the incarnation of God.
Of who?
Rishabh-dev?
He had 100 sons.
100 sons, exactly right. And who's the most famous of those 100? One is very famous. Bharat. King Bharat.
Sorry.
Okay. So Bhagavatam 5.54 to 6 confirms this as follows. Nunam pramattaha kurute vikarma yat indriya priteya aprinoti na sadhu manye yatatmanoyam asannapi kleshida ashadeha parabhavastavaddabodhajato yavanna jigyasata atmatattvam yavat kriyastavadidam mano vai karmatmakam yena sharira bandhaha evam mana karma vasham prayukte avidyayatmanya upadhiyamane prite nayavan mai vasudeve namuchyate deha yogena tavat. So what does those three verses say? People are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. So how can you give me examples of people being mad after sense gratification?
Oh, that Kadra, what's his name? Kadra Muni. I can't get the name correctly. Muni, the one who went after, was married and then went to this, got tempted by the prostitute.
Ajamil, I mean.
Oh, what is the other one?
Ajamil. Brahmana.
What is the other one? The I can't get the name.
Mataji, the Muni who saw the fish in the water, I'm forgetting the name.
Yeah, I'm talking about, so those are one-off cases, right? These are people mad after sense gratification. Mad means always after it, right? The Subaru Muni was meditating under 10,000 feet of water and then something happened, right? But mad after sense gratification means want to do it every day, every time.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Then you express a madness, right? There's craziness is there.
okay.
Yeah, madness, right?
Kadaga
Craziness.
Muni or something like that.
Give me some more examples of common people going mad after sense gratification. How do people show?
Clinton. Oh, you mean literally mad or what?
Yeah, they go crazy.
Means you are asking for name or like what common
Give me
people do?
examples. Yeah,
Today, Mataji,
situation.
today's young boys and girls are mad after sense gratification.
I think that's
Okay.
always been there.
What type of sense gratification? Being
Mataji,
mad.
they like to go out drinking, they want to live a free life, and all the time like fun and enjoy is the only word I'm hearing from everyone.
Have fun.
Yeah,
Let's have fun.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Food, enjoy.
know,
Clothes,
exactly.
enjoy. Everything.
Yeah, going correct, right? Standing in long queues to be to watch a football game, right? Going and standing at 4 o'clock in the morning outside the shops after a bit on Black Friday, right?
Yeah.
So mad is like, when people just lose their senses of propriety or proper behavior. And so people are mad after sense gratification. And then like Aruni Mataji was saying, oh, that's always been there. Yeah, that is true. Jiva soul are here to enjoy. And so people are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Now, how dangerous is that, right? Statement. It's telling you whatever you are here is because of what you did sometime before. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving one trouble in many ways. Is there any way in which your body gives you trouble, or it's just my body? Any examples of how body can give trouble?
It's
Yeah,
not
breaking your arm and breaking your feet.
knee pain.
That gives you pain, knee pain.
Okay, what else?
All the senses, Mataji, like you say, eyes can't see properly, teeth can't chew properly. All these, you see, bodily problems come up as you get old.
That's a very interesting thing. So you said that if the eyes can't see properly, then the eyes are giving you trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think that if the eyes are seeing properly, that the eyes don't give you any trouble?
They give you trouble. Even then they give you trouble. That's true.
Right? So that's what
Yeah.
means, right? Either ways, you are in trouble. So get serious. Okay. So, so what ways can, if a good eyesight can give you trouble?
You see too much.
Like Ajamil,
Like Ajamil.
saw that, you see, having sense gratification.
Yeah,
with that.
you see those things, like you can see somebody, what they're wearing, and then you could get envious, right?
Attracted.
Right? So some it's like that. You can get attracted to beautiful. So all kinds of things can happen, right? So
Yeah, but remember which brand of sorry, Amira Mataji, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You told us there was a story and it was saying somebody with only one sense got into trouble, like they were
Yeah, there was that famous, there was
right,
those famous verse.
So if
Yeah.
they only had one sense, and with that sense, they each got
Right,
into trouble.
right.
And
There were
we
examples.
have 5
Yeah.
of them, yeah.
Right. Let me bring that up. That's a very nice verse, and we should let's just revise that verse here. Thank you, Meera Mataji, for reminding that. If you go to Nitya Sankirtan and under prayers and shlokas, you will find that the 5 senses thing, right? 5 powerful senses. And Kuranga Matanga Patanga Bhringa Meena Hata Pancha Bhireva Pancha Eka Pramadi Sakatham Nahanyate Yasevate Panchabhihi Eva Panchaha. So it says that the deer, loses its life by the urges of the ear. So you play nice music, the deer gets mesmerized and they kill the deer. The elephant by the urges of the genitals. So they will dig a hole and they'll put a female elephant there, and the male elephant falls into the pit. Patanga, the moth, by the urges of the eyes, right? Sees nothing bright and he falls and is burnt to death. Bhringa, the bee, by the urge of the nose to smell, right? So it goes inside the flower and the flower can close and the bee will die inside. So just one senses. So just see that, attachment to just one sense costs someone greatly. What about a person who has 5 powerful sense organs? You can imagine, and the fish by the taste, right? It gets catches the hook and it dies like that. Yeah, very nice. So as long as he does not know his okay, so therefore, although the body is temporary, it's always giving one trouble in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good. One eat, sleep, and be merry. That's the motto. That's not the right motto. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results for sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. So here he's saying that as long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results for sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate. So can you give me an example from Bhagavad-gita? Who was showing this consciousness of sense gratification? And in what way?
Mataji, Dhritarashtra.
Okay, and how was this Dhritarashtra showing?
Mataji, Dhritarashtra, even after losing his 100 sons, he was still staying with Yudhishthira Maharaj. And when Vidur came...
Bhagavad-gita. Example from Bhagavad-gita. That is right example, but Bhagavad-gita. Where in Bhagavad-gita do we see a little sense of enjoyment?
Duryodhan, Mataji.
Where does Duryodhan speak in Bhagavad-gita? Or where does he display?
Mataji, when he, in the war, when he, in the first chapter itself, when he comes and tells Dronacharya that, he tells Dronacharya that be careful and see, because of you, this has happened. You gave education to Draupad's son, and that is why he could arrange the phalanx so well. And
does Duryodhan say that?
Duryodhan tells Mataji to Dronacharya.
Does he say that to Dronacharya? In that way?
It meant that.
It meant that way, exactly, right? Because he's a very shrewd diplomat. He will say like that. He says, Dhimataha, tava shishyena dhimataha. You're intelligent, arranged, but nicely arranged by your intelligent Shishya.
Shishya.
Yeah. But in that one sentence, he conveys all that, right? So sense gratification, he's not talking directly as for sense gratification, indirectly, because of this, we're going to lose, and then like that, right? It's actually Arjuna who's talking about sense gratification.
Yeah, that,
Yes, Mataji, when he says that my
Arjuna,
hands will
and then
be
I realized I
tainted
was
with blood.
muted.
Right? And what does Arjuna say about sense gratification?
My hands will be tainted with blood if I kill all these people, and I don't want to do that. That's
So
what
that is
he
not
says.
sense gratification. He's not
Yeah,
gratifying
he
his
wants.
senses. He's doing the right thing. He's according
He's
to him,
doing the
doing
right
thing. Yeah. But
So
sense
he's
gratification.
very despondent because he says he doesn't want to fight, and because he's arrayed against all his kinsmen. So then he's giving in to his feelings, to his emotions, and to his senses.
To the bandhas, right? Well, he says that explicitly. He will say that in 32 to 35 verses of Bhagavad-gita, first chapter. Kinno rajena govinda kin bhoger jivitena va yesham artham kangshitam no, right? O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? So full of desires for his own family members, right? Oh, Madhusuna, when all these are ready to give their lives and standing, I wish to kill them. How might, all that, right? So he's talking, there's a tinge of wanting to enjoy. Sense of enjoyment is there, that, what use is that kingdom? Whom will I enjoy it? Because when you have something nice to enjoy, we want to show off, right? And I've seen that happen a lot here. I painted my house, so I'll throw a party so that people can come and, see my new house. So there's always this sense gratification in everything that and whenever you get riches, you want to show that off to your near ones. It could be a good showing off, a good-hearted showing off, but you want to show this off so that you all are collectively then happy. Oh, you got such a nice house, or you got, something like that. A very nice car. Oh, I bought a, Tesla, whatever. He want to come on have a ride with me, like that. So people do that. People are mad after sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, as long as your consciousness is that I have to enjoy, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. And Prabhupada gives such a nice example of wanting to enjoy. It is so funny. He says that a businessman works very hard the whole day, right? Morning till night, he's hard. And by the time it's Friday, he wants to enjoy because he's worked so hard, he wants to enjoy. So he goes off to a place. Over the weekend, he'll go off to some other place to enjoy. And so now he's not doing his work, he will enjoy. So 2 days he will spend there, but then by the time it is Sunday, he'll again start thinking about his business and how much opportunity he lost for not working on Saturday and Sunday. He lost business. So again, on come Monday, he wants to come back to business. This is his bhoga tyagya goes on. But either ways, he's trying to enjoy. When he goes off on vacation, he wants to enjoy. And then again, when he comes back to work also, he comes back with the sense that I'm going to earn a little bit more so that I can enjoy even more. So that tendency, that consciousness of enjoyment, as long as that consciousness is there, you will transmigrate from one body to another. So tell me, why do you transmigrate from one body to another just because you had a little consciousness to enjoy? Why do you have to go from one body to another?
Not to fulfill that desire to enjoy. To fulfill that desire to enjoy. Because you as a soul are all powerful. So if you wish for something, you will get it. It may not just be in this lifetime. So if it's not fulfilled in this lifetime, you migrate to another body in order to fulfill those desires.
Right. And the soul is powerful, definitely, much powerful than the body, definitely. But soul is not as powerful as God. And when I wish it and I get it, it's not because I am powerful. Why do you think I get what I wish for, either in this life or in a subsequent life?
Because God gives us the freedom to
grace, right? I mean, grace operates when it's not your karma, but then you get it if it's your karma. And then if it's not your karma and you still get it, then that's when the grace flows.
Yeah, but who arranges for that? Like I do, like for example, if I work very hard in the office, my manager has to arrange for a raise for me, right? Raise will not automatically happen. So similarly, when I'm in this material world, when I am, I am desiring and my desires are being fulfilled, maybe here now and maybe later. Who's arranging for those desires to be fulfilled? Yeah. Demigods, yes.
Demigods.
Yeah. Demigods or a god, right? Like that, in that order, depending on the kind of desire that you have. So fine. So we desire, and for that desire to be fulfilled, you take another body. So the answer was right. I was saying, like, why? What makes you get other bodies for desire? And that is because Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Hari is Ananta, infinite, and the soul has got a little bit of those features in it. So you enjoy something, like I want to have laddus. Okay, so I could be born in the house of a clerk and I can get laddu. My desire, that desire to eat one laddu is done. Now I want more. I'm not satiated. Because why? Because I'm trying to satisfy, I'm a spirit soul and I'm trying to satisfy myself with something which is, not the truth. I think that eating a laddu or a gulab jamun is going to give me happiness, going to satisfy me. It's not going to happen. Next day again, you want another gulab jamun, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. Now you want a gulab jamun shop. Now you want more money, like that. And the best gulab jamuns can be made in oil. They could be made in ghee. So your desires are increasing. So that's the problem with material things, that they are very entangling. And as Guru Maharaj uses the word, it's like a tar baby. So there was a novelish kind of a thing, a story that I read when I was 10 years old. It was called Brer Rabbit. It's a rabbit, and then there is a tar baby. That's a baby made of charcoal, charcoal, that sticky substance from petroleum extract. So this rabbit goes there and starts speaking to the baby, and the baby it's made of tar, so the baby will not respond. And so they have the baby wearing frock and all that, and the baby has got a hat, and they're sitting like that. So he cannot see, he just thinks that it's a real baby. So he goes and starts talking, and the baby does not respond. The baby doesn't respond, so he gets angry, so he slaps. So when you slap a tar baby, what's going to happen? Your hand gets stuck. And then he says, leave me, leave me, leave me. Of course, it's a tar baby. Tar baby cannot do anything. So he gets more angry, and he goes and gets another slap. And now he's stuck completely. So Guru Maharaj says that, this material world is like a tar baby. You try to touch something, and you get attached, right? And then you get angry, you get even more attached, like that. So that's what today's verse is saying, that this material world is like that.
Can I just ask something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I always have this, everything is supposed to be spiritual. The material world is also created by God. So everything is spiritual. So why should we keep denying the material world?
We are not denying the material world.
No, denying ourselves the fruits, the enjoyment of the material world, because it's all created by God.
Yes, because it will not satisfy you. It's made up of an inferior energy, right? Bhumi apo analo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankaram ityamme bhinna prakriti ashtada. Which chapter is this from? DG? Is it 7.4? There you go. Okay. Bhume apo analo vayu khammano buddhirevacha. He says they constitute my separated material energies. Separated as they are inferior. They're separate. And then in the next verse to that, Krishna says, Aparayam itastwanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O Almighty Arjuna, there's another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this inferior nature. So here is talking about that those energies he talked about earlier are inferior. So that is the reason we tell you not to engage in the material thing, although it is created by God, yes, but it has been created for a purpose. And the purpose is, yes, we have come here to enjoy because we wanted to enjoy separate from Krishna. So we have come here to enjoy, and this material world is created, it is designed, it is wired like that it will never, because it's made up of inferior stuff, right? For example, wheat, right? There's good quality wheat and bad quality wheat. And if I start making chapatis from a bad quality wheat to somebody who is accustomed to eating good quality wheat, then he'll never be satisfied, never be happy. So I'm a soul, but I wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. And the only way, for me to be really happy is to be serving Krishna, but I don't want to do that. So Krishna, this is a punishment chamber for all of us. If you want to enjoy, I'll create something for you to enjoy. Try it out and see how it works for you. And so, and hold on that thought, Avani Mataji, because later on, Prabhupada will talk in the purport a little bit more about how do I handle this? Because in the Bhagavatam the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam also, it refers to, what exactly is Maya and what is not Maya. So we'll talk to that, but hold on to that thought and remind me if I forget to address it again. Okay. So back to our words here. So Prabhupada is saying that although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the material bondage of material existence. Okay? So what is the way to get out of it?
Love for
Bondage,
devotional service.
devotional service, right? Therefore, jnana or knowledge that one is not this material body, but spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation, right? And I've been talking about this, that, on one end of the spectrum, in the negative side, there are those who are karmis, who enjoy, who are sense gratifiers, right? They want to enjoy everything for themselves, right? And then for the material, because they think they are the body, so they say, okay, if this is the body, it has to be kept best, proper, most beautiful, nail polish, this, that, and then eat, drink, be merry, best clothes, like that, right? And then you realize that, oh, I'm not this material body, I'm the spirit soul. That actually just brings you to the zero. From the negative, you have come to zero. But that is not sufficient for you for liberation. One has to act in the status of the spirit soul. Don't act like the material body. Act in the status of the spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. You will fall down. From zero, you'll go down to negative soon. Action in Krishna consciousness is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Without, see, so how karma yoga is leading to jnana yoga. Actions performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps one escape the results of fruitive action so that one need not descend to the material platform. So here they're saying without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. So I'm not going to, as long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on a fruitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps. So action, when you're doing things in Krishna consciousness, they will automatically, get you out of that cycle. So now let's look back at our journey into Krishna consciousness. At least my journey started very late in life when I was 47, right? And before that was eat, not drink, but eat and be merry. That was definitely there. And onion, garlic, everything was there. And then you start doing Krishna consciousness, you start reading books, you go to the temple, you do this and that, right? You have sanghas, you invite people to your home and all that. And then it is like Prabhupada says, don't eat onion. And then you say, oh my goodness, but onion is supposed to be good for heart and health and this and that. Oh, garlic. Oh yeah, garlic is also such a good thing, medicinal properties and all that. And like, how am I going to, I'm going to die if I give up that, right? And then 6 months later, 5 months later, 1 year later, or whatever, then you turn around to the next devotee and you say, I didn't even know how this happened, how I stopped eating onion, how I stopped eating garlic. Did it happen to me or did it happen to any one of you?
Yeah, it happened to us also, Mother, to me also.
I don't cook with onion and garlic at home now. I mean, I never used to use garlic much, but onion, it's already been, I think, 2 years now. I don't buy onion. But the thing is, when I go out, of course, you eat all especially Indian food. There's always North Indian food, especially. There's always onion and garlic. I mean, I do eat that. But at home, I just don't feel the lack of it at all. I just don't not cook with onion anymore. I don't buy onion at all.
Yes, and Namaste Mother is saying that just amazing that it happens. And this is the beauty of devotional service. And this is what the verse that we are talking about there is saying that, if you don't do this, you will continue to be there. But if you do it, this is the result of action. So it's amazing. It's amazing how doing work in devotional service, how it gets rid of your other things without you even having to do anything. Why? Because your heart is being purified by the action of serving the Lord. Kirat hunanda pulinda pulkasha abhira, that whole line. Yene cha ane pap ap śrī-bhagavān śrīdhanti tasmai prabhu vishnave namaha. So it says, Kirad, Hun, Pulinda, Greek, Pulkasha, all these, inferior sects, they who enjoy life, and they could be taking shelter of the worst kind of thing in that you can possibly take shelter of. They all get Shuddhyanti Tasmai. They get purified by Prabha Vishnave Namaha, by doing Namaha, Namaskar, by doing devotional service to Vishnu, they get purified. So the purification of the heart will happen when you work, right? That's why when it defines pure devotional service, it involves doing work, right? So here that's why proposing. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically, right? You see, automatically. You do not create a chart saying today I'm going to eat 4 onions, tomorrow 3, 3.5, 2, 1.5, 1.1, 1.2, like that, 1, 9.9, like that. We didn't do any of that calculation, any of that planning. It happens automatically.
Mataji,
Right?
I just want to ask you something. You said, like sense gratification, like wearing nice clothes and this, that's part of it, and that will drop off. But then, when you are going to festivals, even in the temple, for instance, the most recent one, appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so on. I mean, people dress up, and I think that's you want to do that because you want to do it for Krishna. You want to do it because it's a festival, and that's how you honor the Lord as well. So, but at the same time, it is sense gratification, not only for Krishna but for yourself, because while you're dressing up for Krishna, you also it will definitely, if you didn't delight in it yourself, you wouldn't feel good about it going to the temple that way, because you have to feel good about it, about yourself and how you look and how you've dressed up and so on. So that is sense gratification as well. And even when you look at all the pictures, of Krishna and, all the books, like the gopis and all, they were wearing nice saris. They all look very beautiful. They have all the ornaments. So it's not that how do you reconcile that? So that is all spiritual too, but it's material sense gratification as well.
You just summarized 5.2. That is what 5.2 is saying. But you work in devotional service is better. Work in devotional service is better, and that's what I am trying to point out. And this is also, you gave the answer to your question on inferior material energy, right? So material energy is inferior as long as you use it for your own sense gratification, independent of Krishna. That's the connecting phrase, independent of Krishna, right? So if I'm just, like the glamour girls on glamour magazines, right? There's likely no Krishna consciousness there. They're beautiful, beautifully dressed, best ornaments, best diamonds, best everything, right? But it's useless. And on the other hand, our ladies, they come to the temple, they might not be wearing $1 million dress or, about 2 lakh lehenga. They wear cotton things, but why are they getting dressed? For Krishna. They are dressing because it's Krishna's birthday, right? Like that. So yes, and then you will enjoy, and there is no harm in enjoying it. There is no harm in enjoying that at all. Krishna consciousness and ISKCON is all about enjoyment, right? But we enjoy it together with Krishna. So that is the key. That connection to Krishna has got to be there. And remember, because we didn't want to enjoy it like that. I mean, you read the Brahma Samhita, like Lakshmi Sahasra. There are thousands of Lakshmi they are serving. There are thousands of wish-fulfilling trees. What's going on there? Enjoyment. Why? And why do we want to enjoy? Because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He enjoys in so many different ways, right? So don't lose that connection. Don't lose that connection. Be connected to Krishna. Everything is good. I mean, I think on a Sunday evening, we enjoy much better food, right? Than even going to a restaurant. I mean, you can go to a restaurant, there will be onion and garlic, but does it taste as heavenly as, the Goranga potatoes that we had last Monday? right? With no onion garlic. So key there is that it has to be connected. And that is what, when we are talking about renouncing this material world, right? And it'll come later, like, it didn't even belong to you, buddy. What are you renouncing? Everything. When we were put, in fact, today morning, I was just thinking that, so I have been put into this world against, I hope I am here in this world. At least I have no recollection that, how I came here into this world, but here I am in this circumstances, whatever, right, are there. And so remember that connection. And that's where the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam also says that, and the same question, that everything is coming from Krishna, then how come this material energy has to be shunned, and how come it is bad? No. And there's a verse that's going to come down in the purport that we are going to. So remember that part, that's anything that is not in connection with Krishna is Maya. Anything that is not in connection with Krishna is Maya, right? And anything that you use in connection of Krishna is not Maya. Vaishana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, when I met in the during the yatra, Nanda Mataji, and I saw her. In fact, I sat down and spoke to her. She wrote down also in my diary something very nice. When I looked at her and I spoke to her, Mataji, I came to know that the way she lives in simple, but she enjoys the most. She enjoys the most because she is in love with Krishna, reading, Mataji, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, then Nectar of Devotion. I mean, she was giving quotes from there. So she was telling me. So now her enjoyment is transferred to this.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, she's enjoying, but at the same time, her enjoyment is transferred. And she is only in her white saris. And that too, I mean, they are ironed and they have starch and that way. No, very simple way. Just wash it and wear it. So I really loved the way she was living and the way she spoke to me, and the amount of knowledge she had, that were really, I mean, it was an inspiration for me.
Exactly. And then talking about dressing part of it, right? One was going and getting dressed and going to, it's Krishna's birthday, so you go there, right? Second is also that when you are preaching, right? When you are preaching, sometimes you have to be dressed properly, because a speaker has to be dressed slightly better than the audience to make an impact. So they will go, you should not be a shabby person with long hair and long nails and hair all disheveled and all that. We don't present ourselves a bhakta like that. Bhaktas are clean and they do that. Also, one of the things that you talked about, simplicity, there was one Mataji who once came to our temple. It was the old temple. And so she was very surprised. And she said that, how come the Matajis here don't put on any makeup or lipstick or anything, and yet they look so beautiful. So devotional service, brings out that beauty. Also about dressing for Krishna, the gopis always dressed for Krishna, always dressed for Krishna. And they wanted to look beautiful for the enjoyment of Krishna. Even if they had a rasa dance with Krishna, they did everything to make Krishna happy. So it's a different thing. They're using all the material things, around them, but it's all for the purposes of Krishna. That's what they're demonstrating. And actually, so it's all about a call and a higher call, right? We also find instances of gopis when Krishna used to blow the flute, or play the flute in the dead of the night. They would just, some of them would be there, putting on makeup so that his kajal is only in one eye, and they would run. Why? Because Krishna has called, that sometimes his callings, I have to go. Sometimes if they had more time, they'll make sure that they have to put on more makeup. Anyway, those kind of things are very high level. We are not gopis.
Yes, that is what I was about to say.
Yeah, if it was for Krishna and reach that stage, that itself is very nice. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, may I add my...
Absolutely, good to hear your voice.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, I was just a little excited at that question that Mataji had asked. So because I used to think about that a lot, I will give one coincidence of my how I got that answer. So I correlate that to Krishna. So considering that Krishna is our supreme father, like we say supreme pita, right? So my son, when we are together, we enjoy, like he enjoys playing with me, he enjoys eating with me and everything. But at times when he sees that, he gets very greedy, his desires get overwhelmed him, and he wants to become the owner of that. Like if I own some chips and we are enjoying together, he'll say, no, I want this. No, it is mine. And then it becomes a separate thing. Like he doesn't want anyone to share, and he fights and this and that. And then as a father, what I do is like, I'm enjoying with him. Actually, I'm having a very great moment. But because I'm seeing him being so obsessed with just one thing, even though knowing that he's my son, I feel sad. And then I said, like, okay, I can't control you. So just take it, go. And that's what I feel happens with us as well, because he's handling such a big thing and we get obsessed with that. Like, why not me? Like, why I should be the god of that or something. And then Krishna is like, you can't handle all these things. Here's a small portion that I'll give you, which is the material energy. So he creates a small space, just like how I create for my son. It's like, all right, you want to know how it is? Take this small thing and see if you can manage it. And then he gives up and he says like, okay. And then he when he goes into his own, it's like, okay, he comes back crying, saying that, okay, Papa, this, that. So I think that's where that connection happens. Like when you enjoy with your parents, at that time, the whatever desires you have is not really sense gratification. It's you're enjoying with your father. But when you try to be a god of that and you go a separate way, you become lonely. And then that enjoyment is there for a moment, but it's temporary. And then it fades away. And then you realize your eyes are like, oh, where's my father? Like, oh, where's my mother? As if like you're lost in a big fun fair. So that's my...
Very, very nicely said. And then to polish it off, I'll ask you a question, that what happens to you when he comes to you crying?
I become, I have a sense, a little anger, then I become very, that compassionate, like, oh, my son is coming, and we feel dear, and I hug him back. But I do teach him some things when he comes back. See, this is what I said. So yes, I wanted to conclude with that. Like that's how Krishna does with us. Like when we cry.
Because exactly. And sometimes we want to have poison. We want poison, and then Krishna doesn't give it. Right. Or sometimes Krishna will give it and put you in such a condition that you will yourself come back and say, I don't think it was such a good idea.
Right.
So this whole world is for that, life after life after life.
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that nice real life example. Okay, so renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete, as it is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami. And so Varshana Mataji, here is Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu verse coming up, 1.2.258. Prapanchikataya buddhya hari samhandi vastunaha mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu kathyate. Very nice, along the lines of what we are discussing. When persons eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, their renunciation is called incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything, including a bag of potato chips. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then where is the question of renunciation? One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of the Mayavadi school. And Prabhupada gives a very nice example, actually. He says that there is a man walking in front of you, and he's walking ahead. And then by the time you reach the spot from where you started observing him, you find that there is a $10 bill on the ground, lying on the ground. Now, what are some of the things that you can do?
We can take the money. We can take the money and
Okay.
give it to someone else.
Okay.
Donate the
Put it
money.
in the hundi. Put it in the hundi.
Okay, so you can put it in the Hindi.
Yeah, if I get to know that whose is that, then I'll try and go and give it. If not, then I'll put it in the hundi.
Or we can just avoid and walk by.
Yeah. So one option is do nothing, take it yourself, right? Give it to somebody, give it to Krishna, right? So to give it to the rightful owner. Okay. So as long as we know that everything in this world belongs to Krishna, you will get into the habit of giving it to the rightful owner. And when you give it to the rightful owner is very happy and he says, hey, you know what, thank you so much. Here's $1 for you. That is the prasadam. So anytime when we have to eat anything, we always offer it to Krishna. Without offering to Krishna, it's like we are thieves. That's what it said in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-gita. Right? You're a thief, stena, and you eat only sin. Like that. So everything. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya parechati. So what is Krishna hungry for? Is Krishna hungry for apples and puris and kachoris that you give? What is he hungry for? What is his
He's
hunger?
hungry for love.
He's
Our
hungry
love.
for love. Exactly. Right? He's hungry for love. He wants your love. So as long as you add love into your offering, your offering gets accepted by Krishna. So let's go back to this verse. There are a few things that I just want to cover for a few minutes here. And that is, so he's asking which of the two is better, right? Right. I want you to focus on the word niḥśreyasa or shreyas, Shreyas here is said leading to the path of liberation. Okay. And that is what we want in the ultimate, right? To get out of this material consciousness that we have, right? So this is one thing, actually there are two words, and I think I talked about that also earlier. Arjun actually uses the word shreya. See here again, in the first one, also he's saying, Yashreya etayor ekam. Shreyas, it's the same, because of the sandhi, it has become CH, otherwise it is SR. There, see, Shreya in the word. Shreya, more beneficial. So this means that from a thing you can have benefits and something else can be more beneficial, right? So how do we judge whether it is beneficial, it's just beneficial or more beneficial? What is the measure by which you measure that? So Shreyas and Preyas. So Preyas is something that it will be beneficial for you, but in the short term. Short-term benefits are Preyas and long-term benefits are Shreyas.
Shreyas.
Right? So for example, a child is sitting and in the evening and wants to watch television, right? So half an hour program, he'll sit down, he'll enjoy, and then have dinner, fall asleep, and realize they didn't do the homework, right? So did the child get any enjoyment? Did the child watch the TV? Is it enjoyable? Is it enjoyable action, watching TV?
It's a waste of time.
Yes, Mataji.
It is, right? For the child, it was enjoyable action. That's why he wanted, right? And then the next day he goes to school without homework. And then what happens? It's a nice scolding from the teacher, right? So that enjoyment was short-lived. It was followed by something bad, right? Being scolded by the teachers and whatever, fine, whatever happens. So prayers will give you short-term. For example, people sit down and drink and then get in a car and then have an accident. Short-term. So short-term means prayers. Short-term benefits usually will not involve a lot of efforts or sacrifice. It's there, you do it, you enjoy it, right? The consequences and suffer the consequences. Whereas for Shreyas is when it is long-term. The benefit will come to you and be with you long-term. Will come also after a long time usually and will stay with you for a long time. Shreyas. So usually, like for example, if a student is studying very hard, studies 15, 16 years of his initial life, and then after getting into school, and then gets a good job, and then he can enjoy the benefits of this material world. If he doesn't do that, so Shreyas is long-term gain, you'll get that, right? So here you see Arjun is an Arya. Remember, Arjun is not a fool. He's just behaving like one to give education, so that Krishna will give education not to Arjuna but to us. Here 5,000 years later, we are studying the Bhagavad-gita for ourselves, right? Because we are not even Arjuna. And so Arjuna is very cognizant of that. He says that actually in the first chapter of Bhagavad-gita itself, he'll say, and I'll bring in a verse from there. I think it's 31, verse number 31. Let me check. G1.31. Yeah. So when Arjuna is overwhelmed by looking at the armies arranged there on the battlefield, Arjuna is saying, Nacha shreyo nu pashyami hatva swa janamahave nakankshe vijayam Krishna nacha rajyam sukhani cha. So here he's saying, I do not see how any good can come from killing. And the good is, the word good is translated from the Sanskrit word shreya. Shreya is good, right? But what he's actually seeing is that what is the ultimate? He's looking for what will be the long-term good of killing, right? If I kill, I will, immediate happiness is that I'll get the kingdom. But long-term, reigning that kingdom without your grandfather, without your cousins and all that, it's long-term, no good. So he's very, very conscious of that. Actually, in the second chapter also, he will say, Yashreyasam nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste shadi mam tam prapannam. So he says that in the second verse also, that you tell me which is better, which is Shreya. So Shreya, he is talking about ultimate good, which is long living, which will stay for us. And here also, in this verse, today's verse, right? Did you see the word Shreya in today's verse?
Yeah. Yes. Mataji, actually, I was just thinking, Shreya is like parishram, working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was, because Srila Prabhupada has written, it is good. So actually parishram is good, but parishram in the right sense, in the right path, in the right way. So that is why it is written good, Mataji.
Where?
In
But Parishram and Shreya 1.3.
1.31.
Mm-hmm.
So
Shreya is good.
yeah, Shreya is good,
Yeah.
because Shreya, in my thinking, it is parishram.
No, not
working.
necessarily. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay.
No. It's because Parishram is you are doing work, right? Parishram is you're doing some work. Shrama eva hi kevalam, right? You're doing Parishram, a lot of Shram you're doing, right? But for what purpose are you doing? People do a lot of Shram for sense gratification. That is not
Sense
Shreya.
gratification.
Right? So Parishrama is not Shreya necessarily. Now here's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And this is, ladies, be honest. We tell our husbands that I'm very tired, I can't cook. Let's not cook anything tonight. My hands are hurting. I don't know. I can't do that, right? So we are talking about that in the lunchtime, that no dinner today. I'm very tired. I've been cooking, cleaning, whatever, right? And then 3 o'clock, somebody comes and says, let's go to the temple. And you go to the temple, and then the temple person comes and says, Mataji, can you chop some vegetables? And you go and chop like 20 pounds of vegetables, and you're so happy. What was it? What happened? Why? How could you do that without being tired? The one who couldn't even cook for 1 person or 2 person in the home can now go and chop 50 pounds of potatoes. What is it? Right? So when you are working for Krishna, so parishram is shram, right? And it'll make you exhausted. You'll feel aching muscles and all that when you're trying to do it for yourself. But the moment you try to do it for Krishna, you're cooking for Krishna, then the shram also goes away. There's enjoyment, unless of course there's extremes and, but still, even when you do the extremes, like we do in Janmashtami, there's a joyousness which is around it. So you can be joyful even in a condition where your whole body is exhausted, there's no food in the stomach, still you are happy because you're doing it for Krishna. right? And when you're doing it for Krishna, you are getting the enjoyment here also. You also got long-term enjoyment because it's devotional service and you sacrifice things for Krishna, right? So parishram is a lot of shram, but not good, cannot is not
that is
necessarily
true.
all good. Yeah, it's not necessarily all good. But here Arjuna is talking about just śreyasam. So even here, Prabhupada, Krishna is also saying, right? So that, Shreyas, ubhau, between the two of them, which one is better? So he says, yes, working in devotional service is certainly better than working, right? When a person gets liberated, it's okay for whether they work or whether they don't work, but not reach that particular stage, then we should make sure that we are, doing work. And when we're doing the work, we do it for Krishna. That is the idea. Do the work for Krishna. Try to bring in Krishna somehow or the other. Think of Krishna, right? Man manam avabhat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, right? So think of me. So even if we think of Krishna, Krishna is happy because we thought for him, right? On the other hand, if you are just thinking about sense gratification, and in the 9th chapter, he talks about, yanti deva vrata devan, pritrin yanti prativataha, bhutani yanti bhutejya. So he's saying that yanti deva vrata, those who worship the demigods go to demigod. Why do we worship demigods? Because we want some sense enjoyment, right? Material sense enjoyment. So you go there. Yanti deva vrata, pitrin, you want to go to the ancestors, you go there, right? I'm going for my ancestors, right? Bhutani, you want to worship ghosts to get some powers, right? Ghosts have powers. So you go there. But he said, yanti majyajino pima. But those who worship me come to me, and that is Shreyas. The first 3 lines are talking about prayas in that verse. Prayas and then Shreyas. Ultimate good. What is the ultimate good? And that's why the sages of Naimisharanya were very smart. They asked the smart question. Tell us what is the ultimate good of my good. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janyatya Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yat Ahetukam. And the response comes like Vasudeva Bhagavati. That is what you should do. Otherwise, Shrama eva hi kevalam. It is just Shrama you did. Whatever you did, it was not connected to Krishna, only work, nothing at all. So I'll stop here now and take some reflections. 1 or 2 or questions or anything that you liked or did not like. Hey, Archana Mataji, I saw you now properly.
Hare Krishna Mataji, that would pranam to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice lecture, Mataji. Very nice. After a long time, I was able to, have the association of the devotees. Though I used to watch, on the Facebook. But yeah, today I was fortunate enough to hear the Krishna Katha from your lotus mouth. So thank you so much. Yeah, today actually everything was wonderful. The questions were great. The answers were as usual great. But the one takeaway which I would like to, specifically mention is you mentioned like whatever we do, because Krishna is the proprietor of everything. He's the owner of everything. So actually he's the rightful owner. So, whatever you do, everything in your life, whatever you're trying to do, just offer it to Krishna, that because he's actually the rightful owner. So that's what I want to take away, because that's actually the truth also, because he's the supreme. He's the cause of all causes, right? So yeah, so I'll take this.
Good. Now
to my
thank you
heart.
for nice reflection. So now so we say Krishna owns everything.
Yep.
Is there a verse in support that Krishna owns everything?
Yeah, Mataji, 5.29 says, right, which is a peace formula also. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. So one who knows like I'm the ultimate beneficiary of, all the sacrifices, austerity, and I'm the supreme lord of all the planets. So that means he owns everything. He himself is saying, like, I'm the proprietor of all the planets and demigods. And most of all, he's the well-wisher. Suhridam sarvabhutanam. I am the well-wisher of all the living entities. So one who knows this, he'll, obviously come out of the material miseries and sufferings. Yeah. So I like this. Haribol Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So he says he's a controller, Ishwara, right? He's a controller. So like the president of America is a controller of America, but does he own your house? No, right? He doesn't own whole of America.
Yeah.
And he's the beneficiary of everything. So he gets the benefit of the yagyas that we offer. But close.
Yeah,
I'm
but
looking
because
for
Mataji,
something but-
but he created everything, right? So everything
Well,
is
give
his
me the verse.
creation.
Give me the verse. Give me the
Oh,
verse that
okay.
says he creates everything. That verse is not saying he creates everything.
Oh yeah, that's 10.8, I think so, right?
Yes, that is the right verse.
sarvasya prabhavos matta sarvam
Sarvam.
pravartate
Pravartate
iti
iti
matva
matva
bhajante
bhajante.
mam
Buddha.
buddha bhava
Bhutav
samannita.
samanvata.
Samanvita. That is the verse, precise on the dot, right?
Yeah,
He's saying, I have
yeah.
created everything. I create everything, so you
Yeah,
own it.
Mataji. Yeah.
Like that.
10.8,
Yeah.
Mataji. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, and then there is a verse that says, Yat karoshi yat ashnasi yat juhoshi dadati yat tapashyasi kanteya tat kurushva mad arpanam. Whatever you eat, whatever you give, right? Do it as an offering to me.
Offering, yeah. Right, Mataji.
Whatever
In
you
that,
give. Try to
yeah,
bring
in
in
that
Krishna.
way, in that way you'll be free from all the reactions of the fruitful activities,
Right.
right?
So it's only
Yeah.
devotional service that can get rid of, any reaction. And that was the main thing, that Arjuna was afraid of the reactions, right?
Yeah.
Of the war, what he's going to do in the war. But then Krishna says, do the war for me. Do it for me, he says. And then, then you won't have the reactions.
Yeah.
And don't get attachment, because if you're attached to the results, then you earn enjoyment of the process, then you will keep on getting a body again and again and again and again.
Doomed, totally.
All right, good. Then we should we call it a day, or any more reflections, any more thought questions? We'll meet again on Sunday morning.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Namaste.
Hare
Pranam. Okay, take care. Namaste Mataji, I wanted to talk to you. I'll give you a call really quickly after this for 2 minutes, if you can.
How's
hang
your
on.
mother, Mataji?
That's a question for Namaste Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is
I
your
don't-
mom doing? Just wanted to inquire.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Are we still? Oh, okay.
Okay, so
She.
let's just do things. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
namo
namaha.
namaha.